Well, Governor, tell us about your position on the death penalty here and as it applies to Mr. Plouffe.
Well, I was frequently asked in debates my position on the death penalty, and I've been consistent through my entire career. I'm opposed to the death penalty.
Now, tell me about the action that you're taking here with regard to Mr. Plouffe's prosecution.
Well, I was surprised that the federal government, that President Obama and Attorney General Holder are combing through, it seems, states that don't have the death penalty and looking to get jurisdiction. And we're going to prosecute Mr. Plouffe to the fullest extent of the law, and I'm sure a harsh penalty, if he's found guilty, will be exacted.
Tell us about your opposition to the death penalty. Where does that come from, and how do you feel about it?
Well, it's a Rhode Island philosophy in that in the 19th century we executed what many say was an innocent man, and so we abolished the death penalty 7 years later, and it's been part of our social and ethical fabric ever since.
How hard will you fight the feds on this, Governor Chafee?
Well, we'll see where it goes. I believe the next step for the federal government is a writ of habeas corpus, and the governor doesn't have any say on that, so we'll see what happens.
So he could still end up in federal jurisdiction custody if that's where it goes?
That's what I understand.
Mr. Plouffe, your office has released a letter from Mr. Plouffe's public defender saying that he would forego a federal prosecution if he were to plead in state court and accept a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Do you think that's appropriate?
Yes, that's what we understand. He would plead guilty, and to a murder would have a sentence without parole. That's what we're understanding.
Is this a broader state policy now? Is this based on the specific facts of this case, or if a similar situation came up, can we expect this will be how the administration approaches this?
This is a tough decision. I mean, the horrible murder, senseless, brutal murder, executing an innocent man, working hard, and very, very unfortunate. But it's like you can't be half pregnant. I'm opposed to the death penalty. That's been my position.
I haven't seen any polls recently in Rhode Island how people feel about the death penalty, but we're told that, just talking to most people, I don't know most people, but many people favor the death penalty. What do you say to them?
Well, I don't answer to the polls, but I do think that the Rhode Islanders, we have some pride in that we have some ideas that since we executed a man back in the 19th century, that we don't ever want to do that again.
And what do you say to people who feel that in the case of Mr. Plouffe and his federal death penalty prosecution, that you're getting in the way of that here?
No, this is a state jurisdiction. Crime committed in Rhode Island by a Rhode Islander, and we have a very capable, extremely capable judicial process, and Attorney General, I'm sure, and his staff will do the right thing.
Have you spoken to the Attorney General about this case?
No, I have not.
And have you spoken with him about your opposition to the death penalty?
No, I have not. I believe this is the first time my legal team says this is the first time the governor's ever been asked to weigh in on a transfer out of state custody.
In Rhode Island or elsewhere?
That's what I'm told.
Just in Rhode Island? In Rhode Island.
Yes,
How did this come to your attention, end up on your desk? Sort of, what was the process that led you to taking this decision?
It was a process in which the letter went asking for the governor to sign off to the Department of Corrections, and it took a while to get to us. And Mr. Plouffe's lawyers weighed in, and so it came with a deadline, a fast-approaching deadline.
So you expect, we've heard that the federal government may go to court, a federal court, and ask a judge to, I guess, essentially void your objection here.
Yes, again, Steve, I find it a little bit perplexing that the federal government, under President Obama and Attorney General Holder, are proceeding in this way. We're going to exact the full extent of the law to Mr. Plouffe for the horrible crimes he committed.
There are those who say the full extent of the law is death.
Not in Rhode Island.
And is this a broader, do you feel like there should be more cooperation or consultation between the state and the federal government before? It sounds like here part of it is there's a very big difference of opinion, and the way it proceeded on the federal level doesn't reflect what the state wanted to do.
Should there be more cooperation with the state and federal?
Or maybe I should say, should the Obama administration have approached this differently, the way they came to the state to try to get this man?
As I said, I am a little perplexed that we found out about it and it wound its way, in a circuitous way, to my desk.
Governor, would you like to say anything to the families of the men that died? And they may hear this, they may be for the death penalty, they may not be, but would you like to say anything to them?
Oh, absolutely. This was just one of the most unspeakably horrible crimes. A hard-working man taking his hard-earned receipts of the day to deposit them to support his family, and executed cruelly and just brutally. And fortunately, we apprehended the alleged perpetrator, and now he will see the full extent of Rhode Island law.
And if that family called you and said, we'd rather let the feds do their job, what would you say to the family then?
I'm sure that that's the way they feel, but I extend my empathy to the Maine family.
How did you come to your personal opposition to the death penalty, Governor? Have you always felt that way, and what brought you to that?
I think it's a Rhode Island. Just the terrible circumstance of executing what many say was an innocent man. It's just, you couldn't live with yourself. Mistakes were made, and that's really Rhode Island, part of our Rhode Island history.